Picture this, you're on top of the world, a billionaire with a golden touch. Then suddenly, boom, $100 million vanishes like it never existed. That's exactly what happened to Mark Cuban, the shark of Shark Tank and owner of the Dallas Mavericks. But here's the kicker, he bounced back, faster than a basketball on hardwood. How? That's what we're diving into today. Let's rewind the clock. Cuban's empire took a massive hit. We're talking about losses that would make most of us curl up in a fetal position. Across roughly 85 Shark Tank deals, Cuban admitted he got beat. But that's not all. His biggest single loss? A cool $1 million on a startup called Breathometer. Ouch. But wait, there's more. In his early days, an employee pulled a fast one and stole $82,000, leaving Cuban flat broke for a hot minute. It's like the universe decided to play a cruel joke on the man with the Midas touch. Now, you might be thinking, poor billionaire, cry me a river. But here's the thing, Cuban's response to these setbacks is a masterclass in resilience. Despite these headline-grabbing losses, his net worth stayed firmly in the billions. How? That's the $1 million question. Before we dive deeper, let me ask you this. Have you ever hit a financial low? What did you do next? Think about it for a second, because Cuban's comeback story might just give you the playbook you need. Alright, let's break down Cuban's recovery strategy. First up, the shield. When the financial storm hit, Cuban didn't just hunker down, he got smart. He deployed what finance geeks call a collar trade. Imagine putting a safety net under your investments while still leaving room for growth. That's exactly what Cuban did. He once said, if you're a smart businessman, you don't just roll the dice and take risk. You try to limit your downside. And limit he did. By using sophisticated hedging strategies, Cuban ensured that even if things went south, he wouldn't lose his shirt. But here's where it gets really interesting. Cuban didn't just play defense. He went on the offensive with transparency. When most bigwigs would be hiding in their mansions, Cuban faced the music. He openly admitted to his losses, even joking about them on social media. This transparency wasn't just good PR, it was smart business. By owning up to his mistakes, Cuban maintained trust with his partners and investors. It's like he was saying, yeah, I messed up, but watch me fix it. Now, let's talk about the rebound. Cuban didn't just recover, he came back stronger. How? Diversification, baby. He spread his bets across different industries faster than you can say you're out. From tech startups to pharmaceuticals, from sports to entertainment, Cuban cast a wide net. He once said, diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing. But here's the twist. Cuban knows exactly what he's doing. By diversifying, he ensured that no single loss could take him down. Take his investment in the Dallas Mavericks, for example. When he bought the team in 2000, people thought he was crazy. Fast forward to today, and the Mavs are worth over $2 billion. That's what you call a slam dunk investment. But Cuban didn't stop there. He kept his finger on the pulse of emerging technologies. Cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, you name it. If it's cutting edge, Cuban's probably got a stake in it. It's like he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Now, here's where you come in. You might be thinking, that's great for a billionaire, but how does this help me? Well, buckle up, because Cuban's strategies aren't just for the mega rich. First lesson, always have a safety net. You might not be able to pull off complex hedge fund strategies, but you can start building an emergency fund today. Even a little bit set aside can be the difference between a setback and a catastrophe. Second, be transparent. When you mess up, and trust me, we all do, own it. Whether it's with your boss, your partner, or your creditors, honesty goes a long way. It's not just about integrity. It's about maintaining relationships that can help you bounce back. Lastly, diversify. No, you don't need to buy a sports team, but you can spread your skills, your investments, and your income streams. Remember, Cuban didn't just rely on one business to bring him back. He had his hands in multiple pots. Now, let's bring it home. Cuban's story isn't just about money, it's about mindset. He once said, it's not about money or connections, it's the willingness to outwork and outlearn everyone. That's the real secret sauce. When Cuban faced that $100 million crash, he didn't throw in the towel. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work. He learned from his mistakes, adapted his strategies, and came back stronger than ever. So, here's my question to you. What's your comeback story going to be? Maybe you've lost a job, a business, or an investment. Maybe you're facing a setback right now. Remember, it's not about how hard you fall. It's about how fast you get back up. Take a page from Cuban's playbook. Shield yourself from total disaster. Be honest about your situation, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. But most importantly, never stop learning, never stop adapting, and never, ever give up. Because here's the truth, we all face setbacks. It's what we do next that defines us. So, are you ready to turn your setback into a comeback? The ball's in your court now. What's your next move going to be? Remember, every great success story has a chapter called failure. Mark Cuban's $100 million crash wasn't the end of his story. It was just the beginning of his comeback. And who knows, maybe your comeback story is just waiting to be written. So, what are you waiting for? It's time to take that first step, because in the game of life, just like in basketball, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And with the right mindset and strategies, you can finish strong, just like Mark Cuban. Now, go out there and make your own comeback story. Who knows, maybe one day, we'll be telling it right here. Until then, keep hustling, keep learning, and never forget, every setback is just a setup for an epic comeback. Picture this, you're on top of the world, riding high on $1 billion success. Then suddenly, the ground crumbles beneath your feet. $100 million, gone. For most, it would be game over. But for Mark Cuban, it was just the beginning of an epic comeback story. In 1999, Cuban hit the jackpot, selling Broadcast.com for a cool $5.7 billion in Yahoo stock. But he wasn't about to let that fortune slip through his fingers. No sir. Cuban pulled off a genius move that would make Wall Street veterans green with envy. He executed a collar trade with Goldman Sachs, essentially locking in his gains and shielding himself from the looming dot-com bubble burst. Fast forward to 2022, and Cuban's financial savvy was put to the test once again. This time, the stakes were even higher. A series of failed investments and corporate fraud allegations left him staring down the barrel of a $100 million loss. For most billionaires, this would be a knockout punch. But Cuban, he was just getting warmed up. Let's break down how the Shark Tank star and Dallas Mavericks owner turned this massive setback into a springboard for success. It all starts with his ironclad approach to risk management. Cuban's mantra, always assess the worst-case scenario, then take action. It's not just about making money, it's about protecting what you've got. When the $100 million crisis hit, Cuban didn't panic. He didn't throw good money after bad. Instead, he went into full-on crisis mode. Step 1. Dissect the losses. Cuban and his team pored over every detail, leaving no stone unturned. They weren't looking for excuses, they were hunting for solutions. With a clear picture of the damage, Cuban moved on to step 2, recalibrating his strategy. This wasn't about quick fixes or band-aid solutions. Cuban was playing the long game. He knew that knee-jerk reactions could turn a bad situation into a catastrophe. So, he took a deep breath, steadied his nerves, and got to work. Communication was key. Cuban didn't hide in his ivory tower, hoping the problem would magically disappear. He faced it head-on, reaching out to partners, investors, and stakeholders. Transparency became his secret weapon. By laying all his cards on the table, Cuban built trust and rallied support when he needed it most. But here's where Cuban's recovery plan really kicks into high gear. Remember that conservative strategy that saved his bacon during the dot-com crash? He dusted it off and cranked it up to 11. Cuban doubled down on risk management, scrutinizing every investment opportunity with a magnifying glass. If it didn't pass his rigorous stress tests, it was out, no exceptions. This laser focus on protection before risk-taking became Cuban's North Star. He wasn't just trying to stop the bleeding, he was building a financial fortress, and it paid off big time. While others were still licking their wounds, Cuban was already plotting his next move. Now, you might be thinking, sure, that's great for a billionaire, but what about the rest of us? Here's the kicker. Cuban's comeback playbook isn't just for the ultra-wealthy. It's a blueprint that anyone can follow when life throws them a financial curveball. First lesson, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Cuban's diversification strategy isn't just about spreading investments across different sectors. It's about creating multiple streams of income. So when one takes a hit, you've got backup. Second lesson, stay cool under pressure. When the $100 million loss hit, Cuban didn't lose his head. He kept his emotions in check and approached the problem like a chess grandmaster, always thinking several moves ahead. Third lesson, be willing to pivot. Cuban's recovery wasn't about stubbornly sticking to a failing plan. He was ready to change course, try new strategies, and even walk away from sunk costs if that's what it took to right the ship. But here's the million-dollar question. What was the final secret behind Cuban's speediest comeback? It all boils down to mindset. Cuban didn't see the $100 million loss as the end of the road. He saw it as a challenge, an opportunity to prove his mettle and come back stronger than ever. This isn't just positive thinking. It's a fundamental shift in perspective that separates the winners from the also-rans. Cuban's resilience, his ability to bounce back from crushing setbacks, isn't some innate superpower. It's a skill he's honed through years of practice, failure, and relentless self-improvement. So, what can we learn from Cuban's roller coaster ride? It's not about avoiding risk altogether. That's impossible in business and in life. It's about smart risk management, staying agile, and never losing sight of the big picture. Cuban's story is a masterclass in financial defense and crisis leadership. It shows us that even the biggest setbacks can be overcome with the right strategy, mindset, and a healthy dose of grit. Whether you're dealing with a $100 loss or a $100 million crash, the principles remain the same. As we wrap up this wild ride through Cuban's financial ups and downs, it's time for some self-reflection. How do you protect yourself when everything seems at risk? Are you prepared for the worst-case scenario? And most importantly, do you have the resilience to turn a crushing defeat into your greatest comeback story? Remember, it's not about how hard you fall. It's about how fast you get back up. Mark Cuban's journey from a $100 million crash to an even stronger financial position isn't just inspiring. It's a roadmap for anyone facing their own financial Everest. So, the next time life throws you a curveball, channel your inner Mark Cuban, assess the damage, shield yourself from further losses, and then, when the dust settles, come back swinging harder than ever. Because in the game of money and success, it's not just about surviving the crash, it's about thriving in the aftermath. Are you ready to write your own comeback story? The playbook is in your hands. Now it's time to put it into action. Because who knows? Your $100 million moment might be just around the corner. And when it comes, you'll be ready, not just to weather the storm, but to dance in the rain and emerge stronger on the other side. Picture this. You're on top of the world, a billionaire entrepreneur with a golden touch. Then suddenly, the ground crumbles beneath your feet. That's exactly what happened to Mark Cuban when he faced a staggering $100 million crash. But here's the kicker. He bounced back faster than anyone expected. How did he do it? That's what we're diving into today. Let's rewind to that fateful moment when Cuban's empire seemed to be crumbling. News headlines flashed across screens worldwide. Mark Cuban's fortune takes a nosedive. Close-ups of Cuban's face, etched with concern, filled our TVs. The tension was palpable, the beats of dramatic music, punctuating each revelation of loss. But Cuban isn't just any businessman. He's a shark, both literally on TV and figuratively in the cutthroat world of finance. As the dust settled on his initial losses, Cuban didn't curl up and hide. No, he went on the offensive with a shield of shrewd financial strategies. Enter the world of hedging, Cuban's secret weapon. Picture complex diagrams of collared trades flashing on screen. As we break down how Cuban protected his assets, it's like playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Cuban moved his pieces, strategically, ensuring that even in the worst-case scenario, he'd live to fight another day. But here's where Cuban really shines, his transparency. While other billionaires might have gone radio silent, Cuban took to the airwaves. We see clips of him in interviews, candid and composed, explaining his situation. "Yeah, I took a hit," he admits, "but watch this space." It's this openness that not only maintained trust but actually grew his influence. Now, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, how would you handle a major financial setback? Would you crumble? Or would you see it as your next big opportunity? As we transition into the rebound chapter, the music shifts. Gone are the tense beats, replaced by a rising, triumphant theme. We see Cuban courtside at a Mavericks game, his signature enthusiasm on full display. This isn't just about basketball. It's a metaphor for his comeback strategy. Cuban didn't just recover, he diversified. We flash through scenes of his various ventures, the Mavericks, media companies, crypto trades, and a dizzying array of startup investments. It's like watching a master juggler, keeping multiple balls in the air with seemingly effortless precision. But here's the real magic. Cuban turned his losses into teaching moments. We see him on Shark Tank, not just making deals, but sharing wisdom. You think this is a setback? He challenges a struggling entrepreneur. Let me tell you about setbacks. By 2025, the headlines had changed dramatically. Mark Cuban, crushing it in the market. His portfolio had rebounded with a vengeance, and his net worth, still a cool $5 to $6 billion. But it's not just about the money. Cuban had reshaped his setbacks into long-term momentum. So, what's the takeaway here? Cuban's blueprint isn't just about financial recovery. It's about resilience, adaptability, and turning crisis into opportunity. It's about being transparent when things go south and using those moments to build trust and influence. As we wrap up, let's consider, could Cuban's rebound strategy apply to your life? Whether you're facing a financial hiccup or a full-blown crisis, remember, it's not about the fall. It's about how fast you get back up. In the world of finance and entrepreneurship, setbacks are inevitable. But as Mark Cuban has shown us, they don't have to be final. With the right mindset, strategy, and a dash of Cuban-style audacity, you can turn your next setback into your greatest comeback. So, here's your challenge. The next time life throws you a curveball, ask yourself, what would Cuban do? Maybe, just maybe, that major financial setback could be your next big opportunity. Remember, in the game of life and business, it's not about never falling. It's about falling 7 times and getting up 8. Cuban didn't just get up, he soared. And with the lessons we've learned today, so can you. As the credits roll and the triumphant music fades, we're left with one final thought. In the face of adversity, will you crumble? Or will you crush it? The choice, as Cuban would say, is yours. Now go out there and make it happen.